Hey, this is former WWE superstar and ECW original, The Blue Meanie. And you're watching the Tell Us About Yourself show on Foxworthy 257. Now, if you're looking to watch a show about people who play the Super Show wrestling card and dice game, I highly recommend it. The Blue Meanie told you! The Blue Meanie sent you to watch Foxworthy 257, or else I'll come get you.
My name is Brian Pillman Jr., and you are watching Tell Us About Yourself, only on Foxworthy 257 Twitch channel.
Hi guys, I'm Session Martina, and you are watching Tell Us About Yourself on Foxworthy 257 on Twitch. I'm going to get some cans. Are you going to get cans and watch with me?
All right, folks, we are live once again with Tell Us About Yourself with our guest today, the Dragon God Rhaegar. And co-hosting with me today is Paul Trejo.
How's it going?
Which is definitely an upgrade from Chibi. So how are you gentlemen doing today?
Paul?
I'm always good.
Oh, yeah. Me too. A nice, easy day at work today.
Oh, well, that's always good. Well, you know, Evil Ed's always coming in with his hard-hitting questions. So we're going to start with his first. And it's pickle or cheese?
Well, it used to be cheese, but now it's pickle.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Pickle. All right. Fox or sheep?
Well, you got to be the predator. You have to be the fox. Just like dragons are the predator.
Yeah. See, I'm glad you went by that way because I thought you were going to take it as which animal you prefer to eat as a dragon, and then if you would have said fox, I would have been scared because you know sheep are such a better meal for dragons.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing the
Plus they
Scots
come
do.
with floss.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Come with floss. Oh god.
Yeah, it's one thing the Scots and dragons both like are sheep.
Yeah.
Different ways though.
I think that's Welsh.
I mean, it could be any of them for all I care. I mean, you know, there's so many different tribes that everyone pretends is one. All right, and Evil, I would like to know who would you like to play in person for SRG? Again, or for the first time?
I think I'd like to. If I was to play anybody, I'd want a graveyard match. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, the Raven's Blood Cemetery match. Yep.
Yeah. And I guess, you know, there's one person who he's an up and comer, but I'd probably go with the Nightmare King.
Oh.
Oh, okay. If he watches this back, he'll be happy to hear that because he's always looking for someone to feud with.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I was worried you were going to say Nyrab or whatever the Costco brand dragon is.
Yes, that's Rhaegar's long lost brother.
Oh, yeah, so definitely.
You haven't seen that dragon in forever.
I don't even know if he's still around.
Only when it gets
Not since the llamas showed up.
I don't know. It tends to get self-conscious at times, and like when dragons are mentioned and pop in for a bit or so. But that's about it. But
Lucky Cat Nico asks, cool cat or dog?
Gotta be cats, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have 2 cats myself. You gotta have your familiars, especially with being a dragon.
Oh yeah, cats are definitely better. All right, so since we've caught up with the Twitch chat for now, why don't we get into how is it that you got into the game?
Gen Con 2017. It was my first Gen Con, and I was very much attracted to the loudest booth in Gen Con, which you know it's SRG.
Yeah.
And I met Steve, I met Calais, I met quite a few, and it was just instant. You know, I hadn't really watched much of the modern wrestling. I mean, I was still old school with The Undertaker back in the 80s and 90s. But yeah, no. Yeah, Gen Con 2017, it was the 50th, I believe. 50th year of Gen Con, 50th anniversary.
Yes. because 49 was 2016 because I was at
Yeah.
49.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, and yeah.
That's cool. So you weren't
Nice.
that big of a wrestling fan when you got into it. So it was just the loudness or the gameplay or
Well, I like wrestling. I just wasn't
yeah.
watching it at the time.
Okay.
But you don't have to like wrestling to like the game. I mean, it's just, yes, it's a wrestling based card game, but it's not a wrestling game per se. You know, you don't have to like guns to like Call of Duty. Although, you know, it is a part of the game.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, and it's. I mean, we do tend to get a few people in the game who play it who know really like nothing about wrestling. They're just in it because like that. Like
It's fun.
wasn't that long ago where someone was asking, "Oh, who's TJP?" and like who is a very famous modern wrestler. Like
Hmm.
she's worked pretty much everywhere, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that was someone who's like likes wrestling, and because you don't need to know about the modern wrestling, and actually in some cases it's better not knowing about modern wrestling.
Mhm.
In
Yeah.
unfortunately many cases.
Yeah, because the game definitely still tried to have that old school feel of wrestling. Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, the original characters were based off of the start of the ruthless aggression era, but
Mm.
a lot of them still have that old 80s 90s wrestling feel,
Yeah.
especially at the start. Now we got everything.
Oh yeah,
Well, I mean,
the movie.
that whole 80s vibe was where I went with the Mortician.
Mhm.
Okay.
I mean, that's where he was created. I mean, you can thank a certain candy bar for the inspiration of his name, because obviously he couldn't have the Undertaker. So
Mhm.
I was like, okay, Mortician it is.
Okay. Yeah, which makes sense. It's a neat character that doesn't get much play, though. I believe I saw Bobby O do really well with him at one point,
Mm.
because showing that like even if people don't think things are standard, sometimes they're really good.
Yeah.
They
Well,
can
I
I
be.
think
mean,
a lot of these competitors that don't see a lot of play anymore, it's really just because they can't get into the hands of newer players, and the old players that have them are collectors. So this is in their collection, and they have their favorites. So
yeah.
Well, the also thing with the Mortician is because it's a basically a -3, a -2, -1 gimmick, and then
Hmm.
it's done. It's one of those things where people think, oh, well, it's not something that helps me throughout the game. But I'm sure all of us have been part of games where 3 turns have been the game,
mhm.
or even less at
Well,
times. So,
the inspiration behind the whole idea of the 3-2-1
okay.
was simply because when the Undertaker comes to the ring, that wrestler is in fear.
Hmm.
He fears that entrance. He fears him coming down to the ring.
Yeah.
So, what was the best way to represent the competitor that you're playing against? Having some trepidation, having fear when he goes into the match. 3-2-1.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense. And while it may not be one of the supercharged gimmicks of nowadays, it's still, I think, solid. And especially, it seems like it would, even though I wasn't in the game when it came out, it seems like it was solid back then too. Like,
Well, I mean, you gotta remember one of his gimmicks is he can blank cards.
mhm.
One of his finishes blanks the cards in the other person's discard pile.
Yeah, way
So
ahead of its
that
time.
really kind of
Yeah,
causes problems, with the spotlight cards, for instance.
yeah,
And back then, spotlight cards, there wasn't many of them, and now there's a lot.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very much ahead of its time in that regard.
Mhm.
All right. So VHS 101 wants to know llama or sheep. Which do you prefer?
They're both the same. They
Fair.
both taste great with a little bit of, scorching.
All right. And he also says hello, my brother. So,
Uh-oh.
all right. So Nico wants to get into what inspired you to make a Vampire Bastet and Sekhmet.
Vampire Segment has actually been my gamer tag on Xbox Live for about 14 years.
Okay.
Um, I've always had an affinity with Egyptians and vampires, and I thought, what a great gamer tag it would be, and it's been there ever since.
Oh.
And if you know anything about Egyptianology, Sekhmet and Bastet are very close to each other. In some places, they're the same thing. But they are basically two separate goddesses of both sides, you know. One's vengeful and one is kind of peaceful.
Yeah. Which is cool. I mean, like the whole idea of the coven is actually really interesting in the game because you don't see as many people like making their own little faction in the game.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see that.
Well, I think the funniest conversations I've ever had with when it comes to the coven was when people would tell me of the 4 members of the coven, and I'm like, no, there's only 3. I'm like, no. Bastet, Sekhmet, Rhaegar, and the Mortician. I'm like, Mortician's not in the coven. He's never been in the coven.
Yeah.
They continue to push it until the point where I was like, okay, he's a member of the coven, but he's not a full-fledged member. He is the one that disposes of the bodies. Because, you know, they got drained blood and there'll be bodies, so.
See, I thought that would have been the dragon. They drain the blood, the dragon eats the evidence.
Yep.
And then...
He has a particular palate. He doesn't like human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we all can sleep a little bit safer at night when it comes to that now.
Oh, yeah. He prefers, you know, sheep and, you know, llamas.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone prefers sheep over llamas. I mean, sheep and llamas. Same thing. They're both little woolly animals.
Oh, yeah.
Yum, 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 yum.
And if you attack them from behind, you know, they don't spit.
Okay. That's, I mean, are you talking about the sheep or the attacking them from behind or just the llamas?
Well, no, just the llamas because llamas spit.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of a sheep spitting.
I don't know. I don't usually deal with sheep that much.
Okay.
And by that much ever. Not really.
Okay, so because I have not seen the cannoli today, let's go ahead and give his normal question. What are 3 of your favorite male and 3 of your favorite female wrestlers throughout any time of wrestling?
Oh, wow. We've got to go with The Undertaker for one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's just been a rock for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm glad he's kind of hung them up because it was getting to a point where it was getting a bit ridiculous. But yeah. Stone Cold. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's very close between 2.
Okay.
Kenny Omega
Mhm.
and Finn Balor. Because I think Finn's gimmick with the demon, I think that for me kind of took back my Undertaker being, you know, that kind of niche.
Mm-hmm. That same feel, even though he is such a smaller wrestler, a much more modern style wrestler, but he has that flair for the old school.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was the inspiration for the Mortician's getup. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember when he came in as Jack the Ripper in one of the
NXT takeovers.
Yeah, I think was it NXT Takeover London?
Yes.
Yeah, he came in dressed as Jack the Ripper, and I'm like, oh my god, the Mortician has to be a Jack the Ripper like character.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, I love the demon idea just because of the Irish motif into it.
Oh yeah,
it's because it's drawing on something despite Irish heritage being common in the U.S., you don't really see it at like the folklore and stuff to the forefront that often.
No.
So like that made it a little bit more interesting. Like, oh, okay, this is really interesting. I mean, so that's one of the things I love about it. Yeah, Finn's amazing.
Females.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was really kind of into wrestling, Lita. I mean, I met her and I expected to be taller, and she's really short.
Mm-hmm.
But she was an amazing wrestler. My all-time favorite female wrestler, and she'll always be my favorite, and that's China.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
You can't. I mean, she did things in that ring that nobody ever did. No female was allowed to do.
Oh, yeah.
But she did it well.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't know. I got a kick out of what's her name? I got a kick out of somebody and then forget her name. Statlander.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, in AEW.
Yeah.
She's different. She's quirky, and I like it.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting to the age where silliness is a key factor.
Yeah. And
Because you can be a great wrestler, but it's like a little laugh now and again as well.
Mhm.
she
Makes sense.
she also seemed I was surprised at her height too, because like for some reason like when she's wrestling in the thing she seems like taller, and then it's
Mhm.
like oh she's like about
Well,
7 inches
they're
shorter than me.
put on this elevated stage, so
Well,
everything
no,
looks
I
taller
think it's
from
more
there.
in reference that there's probably a lot of shorter female wrestlers, but because they're all in the ring, like, and they're not really like lining up against men most of the time, and even some
Yeah.
of the men she does, like Orange Cassidy, aren't exactly that tall to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get the actual proportions right until like you're actually standing there, like right next to them, talking to them.
Hmm.
Yeah. Let's see, Bombato. Why do you hate Gary, Indiana? Allegedly.
That whole Gary Indiana incident was not this dragon.
Okay.
Yeah. Whole alleged
Not
incident
at all.
never happened.
Mhm.
Probably that Nairab trying to get you blamed for something.
I don't know what it was, but all I know is it wasn't me.
Mhm. All right.
So,
VHS 101 says, what LFF title would you like to challenge for, if any? Because let's face it, what use does a dragon have for an LFF title?
I mean, it's gold, some of them.
Hmm.
Dragon doesn't like adding things to their horde.
You know what? Everyone here is like going to turn around and go, I want the heavyweight title. I want the, hardcore. There's only one title I want, and that's GM Rhaegar. I want Khaleesi's. I just want Khaleesi's title. That's the title I want.
That's high aspirations there. I mean, I don't know if the bank account comes with the title, but if it does, then I want that job too.
I think everyone would want that job if it comes with the money.
Yeah, but problem is I don't want to live in New York.
True.
That's fair. Well, I mean, speaking of GM, like you helped like completely build the Michigan scene, didn't you?
Yeah.
Originally.
Yeah,
as the GM
we
there.
started as the Michigan Wrestling Alliance, and I ran that for nigh on a year, and then I changed it. I finally got the one thing I'd wanted to change it to, which was the New Order Wrestling.
Okay.
Because I always fell in love with the tagline of "The future is now."
Okay.
I mean, it's just it's like, yeah.
Yeah,
Beat
that
that.
makes perfect. Yeah. That's cool. I mean, because I
Mhm.
know just from talking to people in the area and how happy they were with you when you were running it and stuff, and said you did an amazing job.
Well, one of the things that I believe firmly, and I love the game and I love playing the game, but if you're in charge of it, you shouldn't play it because then you're completely neutral.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a fair assessment there. That basically, if you're running a promotion, you really shouldn't be a player in that promotion.
Yeah,
Of
because
course.
then people, you've got the transparency of saying, look, this is where it is, and people can't say, well, you're doing that to make your chances better. Well, I'm
Yeah.
not playing in it, so
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's solid. I mean, that's
yeah.
why
I think the hardest thing is, especially with the smaller sort of play group, is making sure that the title matches continually happen
Mhm.
and trying to get people who have busy schedules together at one point anytime is difficult. And sometimes you have to say, look, if you can't make it on the second one, we're going to have to, remove the title and give it to somebody else. Not something you want to do, but for the integrity of the brand, for integrity of, so when so people come and they're not going, oh, is he going to show up so we can play that match? So you're not going to backlog of 4 or 5 #1 contenders.
Right. Yeah, because you never want to actually play that like will they or won't they game for, because it's not fun for the people who are showing up every week to sit
Yeah.
there and say, oh well, yeah, I mean it'd be great because it devalues your title because it makes them people, even if it's unjust emotion, it makes them feel like oh it doesn't matter to this person.
Yeah.
Even if the person has like the busiest schedule and can't legitimately make it, it feels that way, and
Yeah.
like it's very hard to police feelings.
Yeah.
Like, so, but that's a very good mentality to have about it, and being able to make those hard decisions as a GM is one of those things people aren't good at
Oh, no.
because it's a good making decisions for the health of the community as a whole is one of
Yeah.
those things that can make you look like a bad guy to individuals,
Mm-hmm.
and like you have to be able to take that. So
You got to be able to stand back
Yeah.
and look at the whole picture and not just the one person.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yes.
But if you're in that few, everyone's gonna complain.
Oh yeah, everyone's going to blame the guy in charge, so that's fine. I get that.
Well, yeah, I mean that's literally probably the number one thing of the job. Can you take being harassed by people when they're upset? No.
I used to run pubs
Yeah.
in England, so
Yeah.
generally when you've told a drunk person no more drink for you, yeah, they kind of get angry.
Yeah, I've been that person.
Yeah.
All right. Bombada would like to know horse or shark.
Hmm.
Shark fin soup.
Sharks are nice, but I don't like getting my feet wet, so I'm gonna go with horse.
Mhm.
I like to eat a nice horse.
There we go.
All right. And I know Nanook's not here, but how did it feel getting suplexed by Nanook through a chair
Honestly,
as a dragon form too? I mean, that's quite impressive.
yeah, I mean, he contacted me and I was like, let me think about it, because sometimes it's an instant yes, and sometimes I was not in a good place at the time, and my fiance was like, literally, are you kidding me that you're having to think about this? Somebody wants to put your character on a finisher card. That's an honor. So yeah, I was like, you're right. Anybody who wants to put my character on their finisher is great.
Yeah.
And when I seen it, I was blown away. I was just very happy.
Yeah, it was really cool, like the how that came out and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best finisher arts in the game, just because, and that's the thing. Like we talk about, it's not just a wrestling game. It's like more. It's like you literally have a guy suplexing a dragon through a chair. It's just
Yeah.
amazing. Like
It's amazing. Look, but now we have the problem of he won't shut up because any argument he gets into, that it goes, well, I slammed Rhaegar to a chair.
Yeah, well, that's Nanook for you. That's why he's stuck in Alaska and no one pays attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, I mean, he's Christmas tree all year round,
Oh yeah. People talking about Mad Maestro being a smart cookie, and yes, she is.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, she is just the maestro.
Oh, just Maestro now? Sorry.
Yeah, just maestro now.
I apologize. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I am not always up on everyone's gimmicks anymore.
No. It was a decision made in the last 6 months. I just wanted to drop the mad maestro and just be the maestro.
Okay. I will remember that going forward. So the Bombada would like to know, who is your favorite member of the Cuddle Commandos, not counting the Maestro?
That's a
the best one
bad
out.
question, Mr. Bombada. I was asking which one is my favorite child. That's not fair. I'm not gonna answer that.
And that's mostly because they all act like children.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
So, yeah.
But we're all great. We're a lovable band, and that's one thing we are, is we like to have fun and we like to have a laugh.
Yeah.
And sometimes this game can be a little bit too serious.
Oh yes.
Oh God. Yes. Way too serious for a lot of people.
It's not Magic the Gathering, people, okay?
I mean,
It's
even
fun.
if it was, it's still a goddamn
It's still fun.
Yeah, I mean that's the difference. It's not Magic the Gathering. It's actually a fun game.
Hmm.
Like and to be fair, Magic could be a fun game if people who played it actually like the idea of fun, but they don't either.
No.
It's very much the BDSM culture of card games. Like,
I'm not.
Not the literal game called Flesh and Blood.
no, because Flesh and Blood's actually a fun game. Like that's actually a fun game. It's really interesting that way. Like, but you also have to remember, Flesh and Blood also had influence from like people who played this game, like Ian and stuff down there, with them being tight with that and helping like down there. So like,
Mhm.
fun was definitely going to be a part of the game because one, it wasn't started by Americans trying to like be assholes.
Sure.
He said that one, mate.
Alright, Bombada is saying wrong answer. Everyone's favorite commando is a tie between Art and Muppet.
Art and Muppet. I don't know these nicknames.
There's two Art and Muppet are two very unique members of the Cuddle Commandos.
Oh,
We'll just leave it at that.
no.
That question again. VHS 101 wants to know who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God?
Lemmy or God?
Yeah.
That was the question.
Yeah.
Who would win in a fight? He's
Lemmy,
waiting.
obviously.
Yeah. Well, his answer is going to be trick question. Lemmy is God. Because it's from a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a line from a movie that he likes to drop every now and then.
Yeah.
Wow.
The sad
You
part
can
is,
see
I
my
remember the line.
enthusiasm of this question every single time it comes up.
The worst part is,
Yeah.
like, I know the line and things. I always forget the movie though. Like that's the only thing.
That's
I
because
remember.
probably it's a really terrible movie and nobody
Yeah.
cares about it.
Yeah, it's definitely not Eurotrip, which is a great movie.
Mhm.
Oh, Spinal. This is Spinal Tap. Yeah, that's why.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he's trying to hit me with a British movie and thinks that,
Yeah.
not everybody's seen the British movie. It is British, right?
Not really. I don't
Air
think so.
Scythe?
I don't think so.
Airheads?
I mean, I think it had. It's. So I think Spinal Tap is supposed to be a British band, but I think most of them were Americans that made it.
Probably.
Yeah, because it was At least I think so. It's been so long.
Okay.
Because it was the one guy from Laverne and Shirley that was in it. So Airheads. No, not This Is Biohead. Oh, Airheads. That's even worse movie.
Was that Brendan Fraser?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's the one they tried.
It was that whole ilk of that and Biodome.
Oh God. I mean, the only thing about Biodome was it had that really great song, The Safety Dance, in it.
That's about it.
Oh God.
We don't want to go down that rabbit hole of looking at I mean some of Peter Jackson's original films, Brain Dead and all that.
Yeah, I mean, go talk about this.
If you've never seen any Peter Jackson's first films, you should check them out. The definite like B movie material.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi. Oh, okay.
Brendan Fraser, Adam Sandler, Steve Buscemi, Rarens. So was Airheads? Was that the stupid one where they like take over
radio station?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, even worse.
It was Adam Sandler's first movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
That doesn't make it better. But I mean, if we're gonna go through all this throwback stuff, we should probably start talking about the 49ers, like back when they were relevant, because these movies came out around that time.
And that's that's the time that I fell in love with the 49ers, was in the 80s.
Yeah. Well, these movies are 90s, so it would be more
Mhm.
Steve Young era than
Yeah.
Montana era. But,
All right, 6 o'clock and not a Nightmare King in sight. I'm going to go ahead and say his favorite question.
You're such on the wrong time zone.
Oh, yes. I am in the wrong time zone.
Yes.
Not the other way around.
Correct.
Okay.
If you could tag with any wrestler from any portion in time, and you could go for a modern tag team belt, which promotion would you go after? And who would be your tag team partner?
Promotion would be All Elite Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And, for some odd reason, I'm not going to go with The Undertaker. I'm going to go with Mick Foley.
There you go.
All right.
I just think, hearing his, car crash music hit would be just brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, very iconic music. And the dude was always a great worker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. He worked 24/7.
Yeah. Even back in the olden days, like the 80s.
Mhm.
All right. So we asked about, so how did the ideas for the gimmicks for Sekhmet and Bastet come into play? Was that something you wanted, or something that Steve worked on, or a combination of the two of you?
Sekhmet, well, first of all, you have to remember that Sekhmet and Mortician were made at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Bastet and Rhaegar were made at the same time, as well as the Coven. So in 2018, Sekhmet and Mortician came out. In 2019 was when Rhaegar, Bastet, and the Coven debuted.
Okay.
But when it came to Sekhmet, I wanted something that allowed you to bury without really, But I mean, I know it's been changed now, especially with the tag team format. But the idea was you could bury anybody's cards at any point.
Yeah.
You played a turn, you hit your strike. You could even bury your cards or even your partner's cards.
Yeah.
Because that's why it says any player's discard pile.
Yeah, which did change recently. And it is, I think, the interesting thing is that it's a very underappreciated gimmick, despite the fact that people are on a tear about how good Terror is, when it's the same gimmick, just different card triggering.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is good. I mean, the power of being able to bury in your own discard pile or bury it. I mean, it's like every time you hit a strike, I believe it is, it's almost like a mini cornbread. But you can actually do it to yourself to benefit you. It's such a powerful gimmick that, I mean, again, this is one of these woefully underused characters because it is such a good thing. I think the Tornado team is a little bit weaker than it could be because of the limits to when the gimmicks can trigger. But,
but if you have that finish in your discard pile, that negates the on your turn.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it took so long for that finish to come around.
I actually didn't actually make any of those. That was all Steve. Steve liked playing the Sisters in Blood so much. He was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to make some finishes. I found out when someone was like, hey, the Sisters in Blood's finishes are amazing. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? They don't have any finishes. They're like, yeah, they do. And he sent me a picture of the cards. I was like, oh, okay.
Apparently they do.
Yep.
But, which is even the cooler thing to realize that the guy who created the game likes your team so much that he went out of his way to make stuff for them because he thinks they're so much fun, which is really a testament to the creation itself because they are cool. There's a lot of people who love the Coven and the Sisters of the Blood and all that because of the stories behind them and how it's portrayed. I mean, you don't always get that. You can get a Press 1P who has a powerful gimmick and the perfect stat lineup for what you want to do with them. And that's cool and all, but it's kind of boring.
I've always liked stories when it comes to promotions and wrestling. And if you can tell a good story, then you've got me hooked. Yeah. And with the Coven, that's what I wanted to do. Yeah. I think I sat down once and told the entire story of Rhaegar being one of the the elder gods, and he got bored basically and decided to create vampires, and that's where vampires came from. And then they just trolled the land for over 2,000 years. So yeah. And then the mortician came into the story later on, where in Victorian England they were nesting, and obviously they needed someone to get rid of the bodies because they were mounting up. And
Which makes sense.
yeah. And obviously with them having a lot of money, being the Coven, because they've been around for so long and yeah. If they want something, they just take it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and then I mean, obviously, you also just have built-in stories by name choices with them too, because like the links to the Egyptian iconography gives it a very good tie-in for people who either are familiar with it or look it up and research it. I mean, plus, I mean, they're feline gods too, so that's always cool. Because cats are better, as we determined earlier.
Well, yeah.
Though having a vampire based on a solar god a bit is a little weird at times, but then again, if you actually read Dracula, he can actually walk around during the day, because so even when you go to like the original vampire story, vampires could go around a day. It was Hollywood that changed that.
Yes.
And I'm starting to spout too much esoteric knowledge of random things.
AHS 101 is saying that the sub for the Coven needs to be replaced, which I think everyone agrees on. It's just when will Steve actually get around to doing it?
I mean, when it was made, it was a very good finish for the time, but it didn't age well.
No.
I would like it to be replaced. It would be nice, but I mean, I get the idea of it being kept, but maybe he's doing an alt submission.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that it really just needs to be updated to remove when your opponent is not a trio part. It says when this card is in your discard pile, your opponent's gimmick is blank. It's like, I mean,
that's standard on a lot of people now.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like it was neat when, like, I guess when you could build just to throw three people together, and build a team. But now that that's not the world we live in, it kind of really needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I mean, when it came to Bastet, I wanted something that was very heavy with just depleting their soul, which is in this game, it's cards. Cards in hand are your lifeline. And if I can get rid of those, so be it.
Well, yeah, and it's the discard from hand, so it's not like the bury where it's just delaying them getting to them.
It's gone. Resources gone. They have to bury them themselves to get them back.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a bit more fitting.
On the other side of that, they do get to choose which card goes.
Yeah.
So it's not random. So it's not.
It's a choice until they only have two cards in hand. Then it's no longer a choice. It's a punishment.
Yeah.
And that's also why I like the one of her finishes, which is your opponent discards cards to the exact number that you have in your hand.
Yeah, no, by hand.
Oh, I've got 9 cards. You got 7 by.
Yeah, it's a very powerful competitor that, unlike the other ones, actually does see enough play, and
Yeah.
A new strength in numbers. There go 3 cards.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So silly.
Now, did you have any say in Sekhmet going to Ikuzo? Or
I heard that she was going into it, and I was just, I was honored that a new game from, SRG was going to have her in it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. And let's be honest, I mean, for that type of gameplay that they're going with, that type of mythology, all members of the coven are going to fit into that very well.
Oh yes.
I mean, I have heard there's rumors that Bastet is being worked on,
Okay.
and a potentially Rhaegar.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it'd be nice to see him in there, see new versions of the characters.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you can always get the first trio in Ikuzo and have it be the
Oh
coven.
gosh.
That'd be neat.
I don't even want to think about a time when there's tags and trios and cup and in
Honestly, I
Ikuzo.
don't think. I think with that one, I think it would be better if it was just kept as singles.
Well, sure, but you never know.
I mean, people are complaining so much about class cards right now.
Oh man, could you imagine how powerful trios class cards would be? Needing a 30 and a 27, how good they could be.
Oh,
You really
amazing.
you just slot them into Joseph Ritchie because they'll forget to put the trio logo on it, and
Yep.
actually, I'm pretty sure you could just put tag team cards in Joseph Ritchie if they're skill cards because he'll unblank them anyway. But but
I think Boss would go not intention, so no.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Joseph Ritchie getting to do the Doomsday Machine by himself, or what is it?
No, Doomsday Machine's the one that has
Double Death Drop.
Not Double Death Drop.
I mean, Double Death Drop. Well, Double Death Drop's not a skill card, so you wouldn't be able to unblank it. But no, Doomsday
Well-
Machine is the 28. That's +2 to your finish rolls for each of the Irish Whip thrown to the corner.
That's
and
it.
to the
That's it.
center.
That's it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which in a singles match, it's very brutal, which is why it being allowed in tag team matches is sometimes hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Because you get all 3 cards in, and it's a normal tag team match, and it's like, yeah, I get a +6 to all my finish rolls. Can be very powerful, and when you only get to roll up to a 10.
I mean, Impact Bomb isn't as good because Impact Bomb doesn't get the bonus because it's not a trios match.
Yeah. Yeah. Always interesting stuff there. So we didn't talk about when you first played the game. What competitor did you start playing before you had your own created?
Devil's Advocate. That was the very first character I ever played with.
I wasn't sure if you were going for the good old 49er arm grinder, but
No, it was a Devil's Advocate. I just like the idea and the gimmick.
Yeah, I mean he's one that's very powerful. People know it, but he's hard to get
Mhm.
because he hasn't been in print in a while, but he can be really good stealing. I mean, any competitor that steals turns is really good.
Yeah, I mean, you bump with that character and you've won the turn.
Yeah. Whereas
And they get a card, so
yeah.
in a way, they're still getting the bump, but you get to win. You get to play the card.
Right.
So that's good. I like it.
Yeah, which is the
Quite a few
opposite of
characters I
Hamish.
like.
Yeah. Where you have Hamish Badeth who doesn't get the turn, but gets 2 cards from his discard pile if he wants it instead of the bump, which is also a very interesting way to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, Bombada would like to know, can I still cash in a shot at the Coven title with my Coven title card?
No, but that's an interesting segue because some point it's more likely going to be in March. I will be hosting a charity event for a charity that's very close to my heart, Star Legacy, and the winner of that will be crowned the
Ooh.
Coven champion.
It is a very pretty belt.
Yep.
It's the one LFF title that has never been defended. Doctor Who, Ben. It's never been defended. I've always kept it as a memento, and I've decided that it's time for it to be seen, and it's time for it to be battled for. I'm currently negotiating with John Calais about the belt card of what it can do. I've got some ideas that I've put forward to him, and hopefully it will happen.
And for the people watching, I did put a link to the Star Legacies website in the chat, so
Thank
feel
you.
free to check it out. It is a very good cause. All right, so we got about 15 minutes left in the show, and VHS
Okay.
21 knows who's your favorite doctor.
Mine's always going to be. A lot of people go with the old school idea of your favorite doctor's always your first, and mine was Tom Baker.
Okay.
Mhm.
Then if I ever watch Doctor Who, it would be the first one I watch.
Thank you.
Because it's odd that even being into like nerdy stuff like Doctor Who was just never one of the shows I ended up getting into,
I
like
mean,
or watching, which is weird. But Are You Being Served? Love that show. I love that
Yeah,
you
I
show.
watch a
can't
lot of
watch
like.
everything,
I
Fox.
used to watch the shit out of Are You Being Served? Like,
Oh, I watch quite a lot of stuff on BritBox.
yeah. Well, for me, it used to be on the PBS because I'm
Mhm.
talking about like literally before cable, or before I ever had cable. So like early '90s. Are You Being Served?
Yeah, yeah.
Such good. It's such a good show.
Don't take me back to the 90s. I'll start talking about, oh, I remember the day when we only had 4 channels.
I mean, I used to spend my summers up on a mountain where the only channel was PBS. Yeah, I really hate Barney because it was like right
I
when he
never
came out.
watched it.
It was right when he came
Never
out.
watched it.
It was horrible. It was absolutely
On
horrible.
repeat.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, it was fine when you got to like the British stuff at night, but like in the morning, it's like, yep, can't watch TV. Let me go outside and experience nature. Like,
Yeah.
who likes nature?
Italian Bombata is asking, are you ready to be on trial for your crimes? Once again, there was no crime, Bombata.
Yeah, no crime.
Gary, Indiana was wrecked before I even visited.
It was it was definitely the other dragon. I think the stupid dragon.
I mean, I've got a very good advocate. Jim Bias is coming out of retirement to
No, he was, but then he got injured
represent
again.
me.
Well, I mean, he's coming now to be a lawyer, not just.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I believe Jordan Hollaback's going to be the prosecution. That's what I've
Okay.
heard. I don't know. And Art the Seal's going to be the judge.
All right. Oh, Art the Seal. Okay, so that's the art.
Okay.
Aforementioned. See, you learn things. I forgot that the Seal's name was Art.
Mm-hmm.
Now I just don't know who Muppet is. One day we'll
Muppet
find out.
is the Muppet. I mean, it's the Muppet.
Yeah,
Okay.
And it's not Matt Nealon. No.
I mean, I've heard people get to put their hand in places like you get to put a Muppets in, but yeah.
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 I wouldn't know.
Oh, well, sometimes you have fun times with Matt Nealon.
Oh,
It's in his pineapple. What are you thinking?
that's Matt Pineapple.
Oh, they're different people?
Yes.
Oh. Wow. That says a lot. A Muppet is a puppet that takes over the real James Sweeney. Oh, right. Okay. Now I remember. I do remember that. I did remember seeing a promo about that before.
Yep.
Out of sight, out of mind sometimes. But yes, now I do remember. Are you
That
a
Muppet is
Nealon?
crazy.
Are you a Nealon? People would like to know.
Am I a Nealon?
Yes.
Are you Rhaegar Nealon?
Nope.
I think that's
No.
the question. No. Some people are too smart to be a Nealon.
No, I think all the Nealons come from Ohio. They were the ones that fell off the back of the cart back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fair.
A couple of them died drinking milk because the cow fell on them.
All right.
Other Nealons that have been found recently are Bobby Ohio Nealon, Shaggy Nealon, Nealon.
Fury Nealon, which is I think
Yeah.
more of a. I think that character is a little bit more shady than that. But
Yeah. Salty Nealon.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, actually, VHS 101 has said something I actually agree with, and that is that Ohio sucks. To be fair, if a dragon were to
I mean-
destroy a city in Ohio, no one would put them on trial for it.
No one would notice.
That's also true. That is true.
No, that's what happened to Gary, Indiana, and so I mean, it was devastated, and I would happily say it was me if it was me, but it was not me.
You're blaming the wrong dragon.
Yep.
And I know it's weird because there's only like one real dragon, but there is that other wannabe dragon.
Walmart Nearab.
Yep.
Is it Nearab?
Not seen a
Nearab?
card.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No one will ever remember because he's not that important.
Until it's a card, I don't say it exists.
Korean Rhaegar.
Korean, right?
So Paul Trejo doesn't exist? Because Paul Trejo is not a card.
And then my camera goes out.
Well, Paul Trio does exist as a person, but just character-wise, no, there is no Paul Trio.
Nah. You saying he lacks character? Oh no.
I
Hey,
never said that.
read in between the lines. I might be American, but I can still read.
Wow. You went to private school then, obviously.
Actually, to some point I did, actually. An Episcopalian school for a year or so.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's weird since I
Oh,
was Catholic.
there is something I forgot to tell you about the upcoming tournament.
Okay.
Everybody who joins the tournament will be put into a draw for a very, very, very special prize.
Oh, sweet.
And that prize is the original Rhaegar mask.
Oh, wow. You're definitely going to get a bunch of people just wanting that one.
Oh,
yeah. That's because I've got a new mask for Rhaegar that'll come out next year. But as a way to make more money for Star Legacy, I'm going to be putting up the Rhaegar's mask for anybody who just enters the event.
Okay.
All the names will be put in the hat, and some lucky winner will win the original Rhaegar's mask.
Now, what about people who don't like gold belts, but like a mask and just want to donate and not actually enter the tournament?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, you can always just buy a spot in the actual tournament.
Okay.
And your name goes in.
Yeah, but then when you no-show, it's kind of weird.
Can we buy multiple spots in the tournament to get multiple spots in the drawing?
Well, what we can do is we can do so many for buying a spot in the tournament, and then you can buy extra spots by as a way of a raffle to the side of that. So people can do, if they don't want to play in the tournament, can still be a part of the chance of winning the mask.
Bombada would like to make sure you wash the mask before sending it out.
It's leather. How would you like me to wash that?
The answer is very carefully.
Yes.
Very delicately.
Yeah, it's not like a shark costume.
Yeah.
Can't just stick it in the washing machine.
Yeah. Or a horse head.
Yeah.
Which, everyone knows the proper place for a horse head is in bed.
While the person sleeps.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nice cuddly present.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, he's never washed the costume.
I told you.
We know, Bombada.
Yeah.
We know.
We didn't have to know. We didn't have to be actually told
that
you hadn't done that. We knew.
We knew just from being around. Oh man, I this might be one of the shows where I insult more people than any of the other ones. At least all the making fun of the Welsh and stuff happened before we were on screen.
Yeah, but the last time you wore it in public was during the last.
I mean, you don't have to wear it in
what?
public.
Yeah.
It smells that bad.
Mm-hmm.
We can smell it in public when you're in New York.
To be fair, though, I don't know if it's the smell of his costume or New Jersey. It's one of the two. Oh God.
Just to bring up a thing.
Yeah.
If there's certain people that I've always wanted to have tag teams with in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And two of them, one of the ones that come to mind and I thought would have been a great tag team would have been Rhaegar and the Void.
Yeah.
I think those two would have been like, in my opinion, the best tag team of just two really, really dark characters.
Yeah, it would have been cool. I mean, but since the Void's gone, have you ever thought about teaming up with Friend Kane?
Nope.
Friend Kane. I mean, he pops up on the forums like every other day or so.
Saying that he wants his his title shot.
Yeah, he did one an episode of this show too.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I've never heard of him.
Yeah. Oh.
He's probably at home going, I haven't heard you either.
No, I'm sure he has. Yeah, Friend Kane is very interesting. He likes to say let him in, and
Yowie wowies.
Yowie wowies.
Oh, that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the other one.
He would be really good on, a show like Let Him Burn, where I just, go into dragon form and burn him.
Okay. I mean, I do hear that.
Kind of like how that guy got burned alive in the wrestling ring.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I think it's his one weakness, fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's also Bruiser, who's also an evil entity out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think
That
Bruiser's
the Nightmare King keeps under heel.
Yeah. Because if he didn't, he would be a heel, but he's a face, so he keeps in the evil monster.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so Nightmare King's more of a dream king?
Yeah.
Well, so he's a nightmare.
Well, even nightmares are dreams.
Yeah, because he takes bad nightmares away from people. He's like a dream catcher, which is what is used to take bad dreams away, but he's rebranded.
He's edgy for those kids.
Yeah. And he's also like an overkill Dragon King or something too. If you his Switch name, or
what?
did he change it?
No. He still has it as
Okay,
Dragon King.
Yeah.
Okay, Dragon King. Well, he's not a god.
Yeah, but the OK stands for overkilled.
Yeah.
Overkill Dragon King.
Yeah, because he's so powerful that he overkills everything as a dragon.
See, you have one dragon and everybody else wants to be a dragon.
That's true. I'm surprised Hold the Line Harry doesn't come out as a dragon with Welsh dragons and everything.
Well, he's English, so.
Yeah, I can't tell the difference. I'm from America.
Yeah, I mean, to us, you're all Yanks, so.
Yeah. Well, Wales is where Sherwood Forest is, I think.
No.
All right.
No, Sherwood Forest is in England.
Yeah.
Lion dragons. Yes.
Okay.
Any last minute questions?
Well, so usually we end the show ever since Christy was on here as a guest host a long time ago, with the guest getting to ask a question of both of the hosts. It could be a different question for each of us.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have a question for Paul Trejo?
Because if I remember right, you're Chibi. Correct?
No, Chibi's someone he knows.
Chibi's the guy you know.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. It's more of a statement than a question. I actually really like Chibi. He brightens my day. I had some really dark times during the summer, and I'd see Chibi on screen, and he'd make me laugh. He always made me giggle. So I thank you for that.
That's good.
But if you were to not have your own character in the game, what would be the character that you would like to make? If you could have claimed anybody's character and said that would have been what I would have made.
I still would have made something that hasn't come out yet, but Boss won't let me won't do a gimmick with rolling dice outside of turn rolls and finish rolls.
I actually really like the idea of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh God, Chibi Rhaegar confirmed. No.
Actually, that'd be.
I've seen. Can you imagine Chibi on top of a dragon?
Well, I mean, not even that. No, just
No,
the chibi art style for the
Yeah.
for
would be-
Rhaegar.
would be awesome. The giant head for the small dragon body would be actually
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
definitely.
I like that. Like the little
Why not?
that would actually be one chibi art that I would actually probably get because it would just be an adorable little dragon with a gigantic head. Like I'm not the as Paul knows I'm not the biggest chibi art guy,
Mhm.
but like a chibi like anamorphic chibi dragon would be actually pretty awesome.
I mean, that always brings up the question of how the heck is a bear a trios card and a dragon's a single competitor?
Because he tones himself down to be only one competitor.
I mean, I don't think I've seen the bear suplexed by Nanook. So,
Eh.
though I did see it indeed in the face by Silent J, but no one knows.
Yeah, but the Coven, I mean, the Rhaegar did kind of German suplex King Pink.
Okay, fair. I didn't know he was a bear.
He's bigger than a bear.
Oh. But actually, that is actually an awesome idea there for a trio. Is just Rhaegar in a dragon form as a trio.
True Rhaegar.
Yeah.
Rhaegar Unleashed.
Yeah.
There's a T-shirt.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. All right, and do you have a question for me?
Now, you've been doing this show for quite some time, but you've also been, how long have you been involved with the behind the scenes stuff more with SRG?
Behind the scenes would have been probably like the first time I did any production would have been last October for Talk of the Universe. I did an episode, and then I helped out a couple shows after that. I did the award show, and then after that, they started using me for their for most of their match cards that the Calais does.
Yeah.
So it's been about a year now, actually. So I would say, yeah, because I remember the first Talk of the Universe was actually on my channel. I did because it was hosted by Bombada and the Cannoli.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, because no one else could do it, and like I found out an hour before it was supposed to go live or so that they needed someone to stream it. So at that point, I didn't even have like the SRG Universe's info to like log into their account to do it.
Mhm.
So it was very like last minute.
It was the Dojo Mafia takeover.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about the Dojo Mafia.
Yeah. So and that's all mostly because I would like. I really just started streaming because like of listening to like I guess it was the virtual grand gathering, like when they were setting up like their zooms and stuff in there, like they needed
Yeah.
people to hang out, so I was just hanging out in there, like listening to Bell and Polverino talk about how they set things up and sitting there like, oh well, that makes sense, I could do that. And
Mhm.
that's what got me to start learning stuff and help hosting events and then helping them. And then nowadays not doing it as much because I'm way too busy.
Yeah,
'Cause-
yeah. That's been the story of my SRG career now.
Yeah.
Is I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, I go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I gotta be in bed, and I'm not as young as I used to be. I can't be going to bed at midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning. I gotta get me sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in like the last 10% of my life with my age wise, and like, yeah, I wake up at like 5:30 in the morning most days, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I can't do this all the time anymore. Like, it's just not as much fun. This is why I don't get to do Got Next as much because I'm working 5 days a week now. Because I used to only have to work 4, and it's like, well,
I work 6. I'll be happy to only work 5 days a week.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's it's interesting because like it's I do manual labor, so it kind of kills me at times. But like,
I'm lucky enough to work in an office.
yeah, so it's one of those things. Like, I used to work 6 days a week because I used to work 4 days doing the job I have now, and then 2 days as a professional house painter. Like after painting, I did that for like 5 years and kind of got over it. Like not having to work it is one of the most blessing things in the world is not having to work that many days. Like, you know. But anyway, we're way over time, and so
Yeah.
and by
And
way,
at some point in the future, I'll come back on if
Oh,
you'll
yeah.
have me, and we'll
Oh, yeah,
talk about
definitely.
the Star Legacy event.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds like a good idea because definitely come on to help promote that is a great
Yeah.
cause. All right,
Uh,
folks. So thank you all for watching. It was a great episode, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And we will catch you next week. Later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.